Hello all, Joe Weaver here again. Today I was going to talk about magnetics and how the force of magnetics are tied into the levels of our consciousness, and also going into how the changing magnetics on the earth are affecting changes in our physical bodies and also levels of consciousness. So first off, I just want to share some information that I've been talking about in my seminar courses for a few years. And when we do a certain time in these courses and so on, where I take some time, what I describe as table time. And we go through the energetic systems of the body, and with people sensing the energy of the different vortexes, different chakras, different levels of our energetic system, sensing the light bodies and so on. One of the exercises is using a pendulum like this and putting it over the person that's laying on the table and checking out the power of their specific chakra system. And the rate of the spin of the pendulum, either in say clockwise or counterclockwise rotation, the power of and how open the chakra is will depend on how powerful and say how nice and round the pendulum spins over the chakra. But the main purpose for me providing this say exercise is for, and I pick one of the strongest chakras that, or say most open chakras that the person has, and then when they get it up to speed and it's sitting there spinning very powerfully, and then try to pull the pendulum out of the chakra very, very slowly. And as you do this, you might be able to see that the spin of the pendulum will want to stay within the center of the vortex. It will want to center itself continually within the vortex of the chakra. And if you continue just to pull it away very, very slowly, you might see that the chain actually start to bend just a little bit like that as it's trying to stay in the middle of that vortex. And that's the main reason why I do that exercise, is for people to physically feel that pull of that magnetic pull of the chakra. Not only the people that's laying on the table, but also the people that are actually feeling it for themselves. And it's a big awakening call when you actually feel something like that physically. It makes it more concrete within our awareness that this is not some type of belief system, or you're believing that a chakra is here or it's here or wherever. It's you can physically feel it with the actual magnetic pull of the chakras. And as I described, we have expanded chakras above the head. Our higher chakra system goes out above the head and keeps going on, and we also have chakras below our feet. But just with this pendulum exercise is to identify and feel the actual magnetic pull of your actual vortex of your chakras. And all of our chakras have different spins. Either they're spinning clockwise, counterclockwise, and that's a whole nother video in itself to talk about that. But there is no right or wrong regarding spin of a chakra. It can just be open or say restricted in some way, and therefore we can open it up through either energetic clearing or conscious clearing and so on. But as say with magnetic pull in itself, all of our levels of our energetic systems are held in place with magnetics. So just going down to the chakra view, the one chakra in itself has a magnetic vortex of spin. That spin in itself is then connected, or those chakras are tied into our expanded energetic systems, which are again are all in them ways have different levels of magnetics. And these are the different levels of our own levels of consciousness, or the different aspects of our being. We are energetic beings. The physical body is one aspect that tied into all these other levels and so on. You could say that the physical body is a reflection of our energetics. A lot of times, for those of you that have done energetic clearing of people and so on, you'll know that if you clear whatever is going on energetic level, then, or say what is causing a disruption within the body, or some type of imbalance, or a something is, say, hurting or whatever. If you clear whatever the imbalance is energetically and bring everything into harmony and balance, then the physical body then heals up that much faster. So everything is tied in place with magnetics in the different levels of our energetic systems. So going on another level, talking about, say, the Earth. And as you know, we all know with science and so on, the Earth's magnetic fields, the top hemisphere spins in one direction while the lower atmosphere and so on spins in the other. It's a counter-rotating field, which is tied into magnetics. We have a north and south pole on the Earth, and as you know, that the ocean currents and the ocean tides are tied into the magnetic connection with the moon. The moon, how the moon, the power of the tides of the ocean are tied into the how, you know, where the moon is and how that's affecting the tides of the ocean wherever you live on Earth. And that's all tied into magnetics. And so without going into that too much, and I want to get across the main point of this video, is how the changing of the magnetics on Earth are affecting us physically and so on. So as we are integrating higher energetic frequency through not only our physical bodies but also on the Earth, the lower, say, old paradigm, third dimensional programs and levels of connection or consciousness and so on are being dissolved. That's tied into, say, the Earth grids. When they're being dissolved, they're also being replaced with more crystalline based, higher dimensional, say, crystalline grids that are tied into, say, you could say higher dimensional fourth and fifth dimensional density. So as the grids, not only of our own levels of consciousness, but on the Earth, are being transformed and so on into a higher energetic form, the energetics that changes the magnetics of how we have been, say, connected with the moon. The moon in itself is tied into the old paradigm of program of a lot of the illusions and control programs, manipulation programs, and so on have been tied into the magnetics, tied into the moon. And it's not that the moon is bad or anything else. It's not that we need to get into a polarity view of this. It's just a matter of energetics and frequency. As we're integrating more higher frequency energy within the grids and within the levels of our own body and levels of being, our magnetics are basically changing in how their relation to, say, the older magnetic fields of the Earth and also our connection with the moon. And therefore we're embodying, not only physically but also on the Earth level, a more solar body, a more solar magnetics of that's tied into, say, expansive, more expansive levels of consciousness and also more expansive levels of vibration, energy, frequency, and all that stuff. So how these changes affect us physically and say consciously and so on is just one example of that is if you look at a woman's monthly cycle, and as some of you may have experienced, is that a change in your, say, hormonal levels within this last year or so, and not necessarily for different reasons. Everybody goes through different hormonal changes over time, according to age and everything else. But what I'm talking about here is because of the magnetic changes on the Earth and how that's affecting our magnetics within the body, and how that then comes out through say different hormonal changes. I did some meditations in some past say seminar courses that had to do with balancing out the hormonal levels and magnetics within our physical bodies to assist with more balance and harmony. Because a lot of people are experiencing a major roller coaster. Like some people, women that are on their monthly cycle may experience more emotional state at a certain period or a certain stage of that cycle. And that's, again, tied into the opening of your magnetic fields, the different connections within the physical body. And from what I'm seeing is that the women are experiencing this hormonal, say, more hormonal changes and magnetics than men. Men are going through it in a different way. There is different magnetic changes happening with the physical body and how it's tied into all this. But from what I'm seeing regarding the hormonal levels is the women are going through some major physical changes right now, and have been for the last year or two. And as we go forward, as the say Earth grids continue to transform into a higher density form, and our connection with the moon continues to be dissolved, and we're integrating more of our solar frequency and so on. If there's any imbalances, taking the time to say balance out your lower chakra system and making affirmation to release the energetics to tied into the old programs. I'm going to be doing a video sometime soon on a meditation provided to assist with balancing out the magnetics of the physical body and how that's tied into hormonal energies and or say basically into our emotional body. And that will assist with more harmony and balance regarding the energetic changes and magnetic changes. And I'll probably, eventually when I get that one done, I'm going to have it attached or somehow linked to this video. And I'll probably do a write-up on my website regarding it sometime. But going into the energetic and magnetic changes on the Earth, as some people have talked about a say a physical Earth pole shift, and we're going through you know, there's lots of people have been talking about this for a long period of time, as where the North Pole basically switches and the South Pole comes up. And if that was to happen, that's tied into the levels of our own consciousness, and it would cause a lot of people would lose their memory, and because our memory is actually stored in levels of magnetics. And I'm talking very broadly here. I'm going around and sort of bouncing around, and I'm just trying to put it all together to describe this in sort of an easy way. Is that our memory banks are sort of like our left and right hemisphere of the brain. Function, you know, is more structure on the left. It's more masculine left brain, and also the right brain is more feminine aspect, and it's also more with creativity. And balancing out the left and right hemisphere of the brain also has to do with magnetics. And to say if all of a sudden somebody that is very left brain oriented, that focuses and lives within that left brain structure so much, and all of a sudden their left brain processing and so on is just no longer there. The magnetics is tied into the left brain, all of a sudden it's not there. And all of a sudden they're basically living in the space that's tied into their right brain. What do you think would happen? They, it would be hard to function. They wouldn't necessarily really know how to, maybe even communicate in some ways. So the same thing with the right brain. Somebody that's living very fluently through their right brain processing might not necessarily very connect in with left brain processing. And then let me throw another scenario out there to you. What if somebody that's very, very focused within the mental mind, and then one day all the magnetics that's tied into the mental mind all of a sudden dissolves, and pretty much then you're pretty much in the space of your heart, of heart awareness, back to your soul environment. And if you haven't connected with that soul, your soul heart connection, and you haven't been living from that space, will you truly be will it be an easy transition? Will it be easier for you to function and comprehend who you are, where you are, and so on? And so that sort of goes into the changes that are going on in the planet right now, and the importance for people to connect in with their heart, because the heart holds with it your expanded knowledge into magnetics, your magnetic fields of your expanded awareness, who you are, and so on. And the more you connect in with your heart, and the more your fields are activated, the more stable you are during these changes that are going on with the planet. The easier this transition regarding the magnetic changes on the planet will be easier for those that have connected, continue to connect through their heart and expand their awareness, expand their energetic systems, and so on through their conscious expansion. So there's some stuff going on right now regarding the sun. The sun is switching in polarity. It's north. It's going through a pole shift. It's in the transitional period of it. It hasn't completed yet, but it's in the process. And when the sun switches poles, it's going to be radiating out at different frequencies, at different levels of vibration, and so on, which will basically, we on physical form and the earth are going to be integrating. And that's again going to assist with this transformation out of the old into the new crystalline environment, our crystalline grids, a crystalline embodiment, and so on. So that's what I really wanted just to share. If you are experiencing, say, what you might seem as very a major roller coaster regarding your hormonal levels of yourself, it might be tied into getting some assistance and or listening to this video when I do this meditation to assist in balancing out the hormonal levels is tied into the magnetics of your physical body. And again, you can do this yourself with your own, for those of you that do this, do through meditation, you can ask assistance from your own I Am Presence and God Self Monad for assistance in balancing out your magnetic fields, stabilizing your hormonal levels, clearing out any other lower programs or energies that may be restricting this harmony and balance of connection with your expanded, say, crystalline blueprint and the new earth crystalline grid and so on. It's a transitional period that we're in right now, and so it's as some of the examples that I've used before, it's the caterpillar coming out of the cocoon and into developing into the butterfly, it's not that we are going to all of a sudden look differently in one. We're embodying those changes of what's transforming and developing here on Earth. So I know this has been very spread out regarding what I'm talking about here, but I wanted to at least share some information regarding the magnetic changes on the Earth, how these magnetics are tied into the different levels of our energetic systems and levels of consciousness. Even our physical body has two counter-rotating fields that once our heart been connected and our light body, basically what a lot of people call the Merkaba, becomes activated. Not everyone has a fully activated Merkaba, and as we connect in with the heart and we expand consciously, these fields are automatically, naturally activate, and our body basically becomes just like the Earth, a counter-rotating field. You're basically your own universal field that has its own magnetics and so on. Magnetic fields. It's a, you know, like a lot of people say the body of light, your spiritual body or whatever, the body of light. It's a matter of activation of the different levels of your own consciousness that are tied into your expanded magnetic field. So that's about it for, I think, this time. I just really wanted to just put out some information regarding the changes in magnetics and how that's tied into hormonal levels and other things we can be experiencing. You're not losing your mind if you've been going through a major roller coaster. Just to know that you're not losing your mind. And there's plenty of people on the planet right now who are going through the same, very same similar situations and experiencing the same things. To know that you're not alone with the changes you're going through, and we're all in this together. So I'll be putting that video out with that meditation here soon. When I do, I'll link it to this video and announce it and put it on my website and stuff like that, to assist with these magnetic changes that are going on with the body and so on. So I think that's it for now. Y'all have a great, say, night or morning, wherever you are or whenever you watch this video. Another awesome day to you. Till next time, namaste. See you next time.